Coming up tonight at 7 p.m., we're literally right down the street here. This guy right here, Mike Noonan, the head coach of the Clemson Tigers in his 15th year. Fourth national championship last year. You got Stanford, a top 5 matchup. This feels almost like a national championship game tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean, it certainly is two of the best teams in the country facing off, and we're excited because our fans are all going to be here. It's a beautiful weekend at Clemson, and this is what people come to Clemson for, right? Whether it's the fans, the players, our opponents, this is it's going to be terrific.
You got the first Friday parade, which is a traditional thing that's done before every first football game. Of course, we know what happens tomorrow night, but I mean, the national championship, again, the program you've built here, and for it to be Stanford, it really does feel like, man, they're now in the league, and for folks that do keep up with soccer, I mean, this is I kidded around about this could be a national championship game. It really does feel like that this early in September.
Well, to be honest with you, it's not.
Thank goodness, right?
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
But we will get there. But the addition of Stanford, Cal, and SMU in our sport and many of our Olympic sports has just made things so much tougher in our league. In Stanford, I call them our West Coast rival, right? Since 2015, they beat us in the national final. They've knocked us out of the tournament quarterfinals. We've knocked them out of tournament quarterfinals. So it's a great rivalry that's formed, and now they're in the conference, and so it long lives. And tonight's the first of them.
You got it. Of course, you knocked them out last year on your way to a national title. This roster, again, it's such an international game, as we know. But when you go down the roster, I was going through it last night. I'm thinking, hey, man, where's the guy from South Carolina? I mean, I know you still got some kids, but, man, 13 international players on this roster. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, we love the diversity of our team, right? And that's part of education is you learn the cultures, and our team is full of different cultures. But we've got our South Carolina kids and our Northeast kids and our West Coast kids. We got just a little bit about everything, and we embrace that here at Clemson, and they entertain our fans.
Coach, how different will this team be from last year as far as approach, or is it going to be, hey, we got our system, this is what we do?
It's not necessarily a system. It's more a way of playing, and I think that we try to play in a way that's attractive and entertaining on the eye. And I think that we've got a lot of talented players, but we've got some new players that are that add to it. So it's a good blend and balance from last year's team. We lost a lot. I mean, we lost a lot of talent to the professional ranks, but that's part of the reason why they come to Clemson, and we move them on and give others opportunity.
And how quickly, from a leadership standpoint, do you find out who's the person or people that step up and say, because, I mean, communication's obviously key when it comes to this, whether we're talking about soccer, football, badminton, I don't care what the sport is.
Yeah, you hit it nail on the head there. It's without question the number one thing right now we're still working on, and we're trying to facilitate that in many, many different forms. But it does take time. I mean, we get a 2-week preseason, right? And you get, as you mentioned, so many different cultures and so many different people. It takes time. It takes time, and we're working on that right now. But I love the team, and I think the team really loves each other. But it takes time in our sport in particular because, it's what the players understand, not necessarily what the coaches tell them. It's what the players understand about each other, and that really does take some time. And I'm sure Stanford's going through some of that as well, but they do have a good majority of the players back that they had starting last year.
I was going to ask you about your opponent tonight, because obviously it's one thing to beat them in the Elite Eight last year. How different will they be, or do you sense that just on that answer that, hey, with all that experience back, it's going to be pretty much what you're walking into?
Yeah, I mean, you talked about systems, and Coach Gunn does run pretty much a systematic way in the way he plays the game, and it's one of those things that we've prepared for, but they're a little bit more mature, and they've got really good players in a way that they go about doing things.
You get the contract extension, and again, I know you got a love for the game and all that stuff. Winning another national championship, hitting the recruiting trail, have you sensed the vibe of, man, Clemson soccer is just as hot? Because back in the 80s when I was here, I mean, it started to take off with I Am Ibrahim and winning multiple national championships and all that stuff too. I got to figure you absolutely feel that.
Yeah, I do, and to be trusted with the program to be able to do that. I told Mrs. Ibrahim when I first came to town that, my purpose in coming to Clemson was to honor her husband's or late husband's legacy and then add to it. Unfortunately, we've been able to do that, and we hope to do that in the years to come.
I got to figure the crowd, though, tonight is going to be unbelievable. By the way, I used to live down here, obviously went to school here, and you could get some Septembers where it's 100 degrees, and you're like, oh, my gosh, well, is there an AC? I mean, it is a perfect, upper 70s. As I said, the first Friday parade is going to be from 6 o'clock matches at 7. I got to figure it's going to be standing room only, and then some people will be in the trees tonight.
Yeah, well, it's Project 6K. We want to get 6,000 people in there. That's a sellout, and we've got we've got a number of people in town, alumni, recruits, those types of things that. It just makes it a great weekend, and we're hoping, as I tease Dabo all the time, I said, we'll be the warm-up band, and you guys go rock the show tomorrow night.
And wait a minute now. When you're walking around with hardware, I mean, Dabo won one in 18 the last time, and that one might be getting a little dusty. When you get the brand new one over here, that's a whole different story.
Well, that one's getting dusty, too. So we got to work on the next one.
Yeah, and I know that's another thing. You kind of put that in the rearview mirror. I mean, that's old news at this point in time. You're not defending one. You're trying to go win another one.
That's true. And like the highlights from last year, I mean, they never get old, right? But in terms of what we're out to do and the purpose and the mission of this team is very, very different than last year's team because it is a new year and it's a new team. And, we want to see what type of legacy they can leave. You
got it. Well, listen, wish you the best. You've done a great job here.
Thanks.
And it's going to be awesome tonight. I mean, for folks that love soccer, that will be an incredible match.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Go Tigers.
You got it. Keep up the good work. Mike Noonan taking care of business.